You can bugger off. It's no time, Doug.
Right. Here's the thing. And what I want to do, I want to get that up.
Right, I've got that.
There you go.
So that's the Guardian spider letters. Right, we'll stick them to one side and then we'll discuss them a wee bit more. I want to talk about this hypocrisy at the moment and things like that. You know, what we're seeing here in Scotland. What do you make here? I mean, it was only between February and June they celebrated the 70th, the platinum anniversary of her coming to the throne. And here in Scotland, we were totally ignoring the situation. I mean, the BBC even laid out a mat in Kelvin Grove Park and had the reporter there with foods and all that, asking the local people if they wanted to sit down and celebrate the Queen's Jubilee, and they were all saying, no, bugger off.
I'll just stop you right there. We've got comments. You've done it to me again, haven't you? You put me on live, and you're not even warning me.
Never did that. Not guilty. I never noticed it. How do you fuckers get in here? Or use it in the comments. Anyway, but what do you make of that hypocrisy? 6 months ago, it was all in the papers that nobody was interested in their fucking Jubilee. And all of a sudden, we're all mourning and we're all broken hearted. What do you make of that?
I know. I feel that there's a lot of this political correctness going on. You know, it's like the mainstream media and all the rest of it are telling us, oh, you should all be in mourning and all the rest of it. They're not my family. They're not my neighbours. They're not my friends. I just don't feel anything for it whatsoever. You know, I think people are just going with that and go, oh, it's dreadful. Oh, just and also they're worried about this feast for indie nonsense that comes on. People know that people object to the monarchy.
Listen, you and I are Republicans. What other time are we going to open our gobs?
Exactly.
There's no within the transition of power between one monarch to the next. And we've all been talking about the claim of right. How about a referendum on whether we want that Pratt Charlie on the throne of Scotland?
Right. Or maybe you should say that female, Queen Camilla.
If we're talking about the claim of right, if we go back to its ancient meaning, it meant that we could dispose of a monarch that we didn't fancy and put somebody else in the place that suits us best. All right, the modern translation of the claim of right is that Scotland has the right to choose the type of governance that suits us best. But if we want to talk about the claim of right when it comes to monarchy, then surely we have the right to tell Charles to piss off, we don't want him.
Yeah.
No.
And as we were discussing previously today about the Black Spider memos, it's not what's contained in the memos that's the really important thing. He's on about a badger cull and things like that. They're really some of it's inconsequential. Some of it he did for his own personal gain, as he was a part owner of an architect's to do with the hospital in Sunderland, right? That he was telling to get on with. But it's not the individual memos that matter. It's the fact that there you have the monarchy, because Charles, being Prince Charles, was part of the monarchy, was interfering in government when the monarchy are supposed to be neutral.
Charles is going to be a different beast altogether. Say King Cocker Spaniel, or King Big Ears, call him whatever you like. Even if you want to be respectful, we could call him Charles III.
I stop you there. How can he be Charles III? How many Charleses have there been? How many King Charleses have there been in Scotland? I'm in Scotland.
Well, there was Bonnie Prince Charlie for a start, wasn't there?
Right, so is Charles of Scotland?
I have no idea. Did Charlie ever get? I mean, Bonnie Prince Charlie come back. Did he ever take the throne? Did he ever become King Charles?
Why is he named due to England? This is a partnership supposed to be between England and Scotland. Yes.
Listen, when they put the post boxes up with bottom to fuck, we'll go back to quote the White Cooper did versus the Lord Advocate. But no, I want to get back to this, the monarchy and the institution of monarchy. It is the Crown's sovereignty and
Yeah. Can we just put up this from Anthony Ray? Absolutely right. Totally and utterly agree with you, son. People forgot Charles came to Scotland in lockdown, knowing he was infected, and how much royals care about the people of Scotland. Absolutely right. Because it wasn't just Charles that came to Scotland. It was Charles and his whole bloody entourage that came to Scotland. And you Jeannie, the handmaiden or whatever. Oh, I'm just going to pop into Edinburgh or Aberdeen. Typhoid Mary.
As I say, but if we look at the institution of monarchy, it's the Crown's sovereignty in Parliament. So ultimately, the firm, as the Queen called it, the hurt end of the criminal cabal, if you like, ultimately they're responsible for all the woes that we all feel.
Yeah.
Because it's their Parliament, it's their sovereignty in Parliament. They have the right to appoint or dismiss a Prime Minister. So the suffering that we've all had for the last 12 years under this shower of shite could be laid at their door and all, but technically, of course. But Prince Charles, you talk about Charles, he's a different animal altogether. He isn't going to want to sit in the sidelines. He isn't going to want to sit in the sidelines.
And if he takes a greater part in the wielding of power in Britain, right, straight away we've got a double whammy. We've got a Parliament which is controlled by the Tories that the people in Scotland never elected. And then you would have in charge King Charles, right, who's not elected. So therefore we can say
the Scottish honours.
It is not a democracy.
As I say, as far as I know, he intends to come to Scotland and take the Scottish honours. He intends to be crowned here in Scotland with the Scottish honours.
Interesting.
That should be funny.
That should be funny indeed.
But as I say, we've been talking about the claim of right. The claim of right's been bounded about a lot. You see, we've unlocked the bell notification. Happy days. I didn't know we had it locked.
Yeah.
I think it's when we get to maybe the threshold of reached. Anyway, as I say, Charles will not stay out. It might be a good thing actually in certain areas like the environment and things like that, because he is very aware of the environmental problems.
I don't want to argue with that. But the thing is, though, the government of the bloody day, the Tories, should be all for the environment, because it was them that organised COP26, don't forget.
Aye, but as I say, Charles is going to be a different beast. He will interfere, as I say, but we've been banding the claim right about, well, if we go back to its ancient meaning, replace a king that we don't think suitable. All right, so I say that we dispose of him and put wee Aggie for Coat Bridge on the throne.
Aye, fair enough.
Put wee Aggie for the bridge on the throne. Hey, Chris, this wasn't I mean, David didn't know we were going live. Him and I are just shooting the breeze this afternoon the way we always do. And I told him to get the spider letters so we can read them. And he turned away to get the spider letters and I hit the live button. So he didn't know we were coming on. He also didn't know that I'd already titled the show as Two Republicans Discuss the Monarchy. No, but I also want to get into that a wee bit, David. I've been seeing a lot of this wish, now is not the time. Don't be disrespectful. I'm a Republican. This is exactly the time.
Exactly.
Aye, Ian, we Mrs. McGumpher for Queen. See, Aggie for the bride, that's her second in McGumpher. But I mean, we want to talk about the claim of right and ancient concepts and things like that. I mean, that's what the claim of right was originally for. But as I say,
why do you think I call him my partner in treason and he calls me the same? Huh? Because we are not monarchists. We're Republicans in terms of the getting rid of the monarchy in Scotland. That is important to us because the monarchy holds up the whole pyramid of the elites, as it were, right? You've got your lords and ladies and knights and all the rest of it, and that holds up a structure of power, which is the British establishment. And if you can get rid of that monarchy, then you can do away with all that, and it becomes then real. Yeah? People that are going to be respected and all the rest of it will be respected because of what they've done.
Not because I mean, take pillars, you know, I put my feet above the parapet and say I don't care about the Queen passing. And I'm not going to do I'm not doing the politically correct thing. I would have a referendum here in Scotland to see if we're going to accept Charles as king before we let him take the Scottish honours.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a time for us to be noisy.
Aye.
Because if you're quiet, that means you're accepting. That means that you are grieving and mourning, whether you are or not. Just for the mere fact you are being quiet and not saying, I want this to end, then you are agreeing with it. Do you realise that that's what the British establishment are looking for you to do? Be quiet, guys.
I'm not going to be quiet. I put my head above the parapet to get shot yesterday because I really don't give a shite that she's passed away.
Yeah.
I don't believe for one second that her or her sibling, her offspring, were anointed by God to rule over us. I'm a fucking atheist as well as a Republican right now.
Someone Ron, I just noticed, our passing will cost the taxpayer billions for this funeral, and I mean billions, while we struggle to pay for our funeral costs. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's like what I say is, if they want to do it, the family can pay for it, then go to the co-op, and I think they do a cardboard box now, which keeps the cost right down, and take it to the taking back, because really, that you've paid for them long enough. I've paid taxes, which part of my taxes have gone to that family all the way through my working life.
Apparently, Tony thinks we should have respect. Tony, we're Republicans. We're being respectful. We're entitled to our opinions, and we don't. This is not the time when you expect Republicans to shut up.
Yeah,
we're about to have a change of the guard, and people who think they've been anointed by God to rule over us. I'm not buying any of that piss, Tony. So this isn't a time for me as a Republican to be quiet. This is a time for me and David as Republicans to put our head above the parapet and say, that's enough of this power, privilege and fucking patronage. We, the people of Scotland, are sovereign. We don't need these spanners. We have our own institutions, our own legal system. Don't need it. Yeah. Don't need somebody to rubber stamp poor laws. That's what we have an Attorney General for, or a Lord Advocate for. We don't need anybody. We don't need a head of state like that.
Wait, if you want to bow the knee to Queen Camilla, carry on, son. That's your choice.
So, Tony, I'm not being respectful. You're absolutely right. I'm a Republican. I don't respect power, privilege and patronage born into one person or their offspring. There is nobody born above me or anointed by God to rule over me. Nobody. Never has been, never will be.
Correct.
Simple as that. And this isn't a time for Republicans to be quiet. And if you think that Charles is going to be a new Lizzie and just sit in the background, you're right. Charles will get involved in public life, and it's his sovereignty in Parliament, and he'll make sure everybody knows it. And I'm not speaking ill of the dead. I'm speaking ill of the institution of monarchy, Tony.
Tony,
you seem to be mixing up.
Hang on, David, hang on. Tony, will you get your fucking head in gear? We are not disrespecting someone who has died. The Queen wasn't just a person. She was an institution. She was. Yeah. So therefore, if we speak about the monarchy and what the monarchy did or did not do, we are not downing that human being. Any human being's entitled to respect, or their family's entitled to respect for them dying. That's fine. Get on and do it. But as the institution, That's a different matter.
And it's the
And I will
institutions
attack
I
that
couldn't give a
institution
shite about.
until
No,
Scotland is an independent republic. Seriously.
really, this isn't a time for us Republicans to be quiet. And anybody that thinks we're attacking the person doesn't seem to have the whole picture. Sorry, there's no need for that, Sarah. But Sarah said they're fucking dumb. But hey, no, there is people are not getting the whole picture here if they think we're having a go at a wee old woman that's just passed away. We're having a go at the existence of the institution of monarchy. The idea that this one person has been born and anointed by God to rule over us. Hey, so we're not talking about a person here, we're talking about an institution that's as bent as the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers. In fact, it's the institution which enables the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers, actually. When you get to the whole bloody pyramid, the very top of the tree would be the sovereign.
Tony,
and it would appear Charles would get the idea of getting crowned in Scotland so that he could take our sovereignty from us.
Tony, I was happy for the wee woman to continue as she was until she died, right? But now that the handover of power has taken place, which seemingly happens the moment she dies and he takes over, right?
Never get words put in our mouth. Apparently, I said, yes, you are. You said she's happy, she's dead. I never said any such thing.
Just grow up and respect what I'm saying. Fuck off, Tony. I'm a Republican. Tough. Get that stuck up your fucking lum.
Right, David. Let's not get into an argument with the audience. But hey, Tony, if you think we're having a go at a person, then you're not getting the whole picture. We're having a go at the institution. And the very notion that this one person is the head of all the institutions and basically has the right to rule over us because it is their sovereignty in Parliament. And anybody that thinks that Charles isn't going to use his sovereignty in Parliament, they're wrong. The spider letters, as David was talking about earlier, we can stick them on the screen for you if you want. These prove that he's willing to interfere in public life and knew that he is the ultimate authority down that road in England, and he intends to become the ultimate authority here in Scotland by taking the Scottish honours, then there's trouble ahead. Even David goes in a rant now and again because he's passionate about this as well. I mean, while David wasn't looking at title, does two Republicans discuss the monarchy? Well, that's what it is. We're two Republicans, and the time for Republicans to speak up is now, as there is a transfer of power from one to the other. Tomorrow, there will be a session council will meet, and they will confirm Charles as king. So basically, it'll be the day to stand up and say, "No, in my name."
Not in my name.
And if anybody thinks we're being disrespectful to a wee old woman that passed away, well, actually, the truth is I don't care. We're not talking about a wee old woman that passed away. We're talking about an institution that needs to be ended. All men are born equal here in Scotland. We're all Jock Thompson's bairns.
What you have to understand is that Charles hasn't just put himself as a lobbyist. If you read the article about the spider letters, you can see that in actual fact, in a lot of cases, he was the arbiter of decisions that were made within the British government that affected us. So therefore, he was not keeping to his role.
Hold on. If we were reasonable people, David, we would give Charles a chance. We're not giving the monarchy a chance at all, Tony. You don't seem to get the concept of Republicans. I'm a Republican. I don't believe in monarchy. So there's no giving Charles a chance. I mean, obviously, Tony, you're a monarchist. You're entitled to that point of view. But first you say we're insulting a wee old woman that died and we didn't say any such thing. And now you're saying we need to give her anointed son a chance. We're Republicans. We don't believe in monarchy. What part of the concept did you not get? We're here to discuss the things that the mainstream media are no discussion right now. Where is the Republican voices and the propaganda machine that's coming flowing through our tellies right now? Where is it? Where is the voice of the Republican in it? It will appear there, isn't he? any voice for the Republicans in it?
What you need to understand is now it's a binary thing.
Tony,
Either
I'm going to leave this over to Tony.
or you don't. The time for being silent is over. Your silence will be taken to be an agreement with the British establishment situation.
Submission to the state is being silent.
All be silent, all mourn, right? My goodness me, guys, just understand this. It's either one or the other, and you can't be halfway, because if you think halfway is silent, then it's not. Silent is actually doing what the British establishment want you to do.
He is the King of England now, Tony. You're right, there's nothing we can do about that, but we can do something about it here in Scotland, because the people here are sovereign. So we can always petition the Parliament to have a referendum on whether he should be given the Scottish honours or no.
Yep.
That's called the claim of right. The ancient one. The modern version, of course, is slightly different. But hey, no, this isn't a time for Republicans to be quiet. This is a time when we should be at our noisiest. And we should be making our opinions clear. And if he's coming up here to get crowned with the Scottish honours, I will be taking time to go along.
David, hang on. When did we call for the murder of the king? Tony, fuck off. You're a fucking idiot, son.
Apart from that, Tony, the King of England, listen, he means nothing to me. So how can it be treason if I owe no allegiance to the English king?
David, he's saying calling for the murder of the king is treason. Am I calling for the murder? Am I calling for maybe? Honestly.
Oh, Scotland is not independent. It belongs to England. I guess this is John Burgess here.
Yeah. Aye.
You know.
Yeah, David. It's a fucking troll. That's all it is.
Listen. If he wants to tug his forelock down that road, he can tug his forelock to the King of England. But hey, no, my king. I owe no allegiance to the King of England. England is foreign to me. I'm a Scotsman. Listen, it's just one of the 77 Brigade, Laura. Don't worry about it. You know, it's just the usual. We're talking about it every day. In fact, there was a report out yesterday. I talked about it in my broadcast this morning. Hey, please calm down and stop shouting. Just go away, Tony. We're going to ignore you now. But this isn't a time for us Republicans to be quiet. This is a time for us to make it clear that we object to the institution of monarchy. We object to his sovereignty being in the English Parliament. We object to our English neighbours being serfs rather than citizens.
Correct.
But our English neighbours don't seem to understand that they're serfs rather than citizens. So I object to the institution of monarchy, and I object to my cousins in England being serfs while I'm sovereign and I'm a citizen. Simple as that. And us Republicans, this isn't a time for us to be quiet. It's a time for us to be noisy. This is a time for us to show our disrespect for the institution of monarchy.
Correct. I think it's time for us to assert our sovereignty. Simple as that. And I actually think that a petition to the Scottish Parliament might not be such a bad idea, to have a referendum on whether we want Charles installed as King of Scotland. Bloody hell, the sound of that. Fuck's sake, man.
Aye, but that's the thing. He doesn't want to be King of Scots. He wants to be King of Scotland.
Yeah.
You know. But the point is, this isn't a time for us to be quiet, David. And I refuse to be quiet. The same last night when I was getting it on my thread, shush, this is disrespectful, this is disrespectful. Listen, I'm not really attacking an old woman. I'm attacking the institution.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's a cracker, Lenny. What's Tony or John going to do about currency when we take our assets away and watch England fucking collapse? That's no funny. We're only wanting rid of the monarch at this point in time. We'll get back onto the independence debate shortly. Right now we're talking about the difference between Republicans and monarchists. You know.
Thanks, Fubar. That's what I coined last night. The Queen is dead. Long live the Republic of Scotland.
Yes.
But the independent Republic of Scotland.
But I don't care. We could be a republic without being independent. If we're going to exercise these ancient claims of right.
Yeah.
The 1889 claim of right, which was instituted in 1703, then we don't have to have Charles as king. We don't have to have a king at all. Although I believe William and Mary for Holland were installed for a wee while, you know. But we don't have to have a monarch. But if we're going to have one, as I say, I gave you Coatbridge. She'll do. Nice wee woman, runs a baby bank. Sounds right to me.
Queen Aggie, it's got a good ring to it, isn't it? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Right, guys. I basically, David sprung this on me again, but in actual fact, it's you have to understand that we are Republicans through and through, and we see the monarchy for what it is. It's the apex of a pecking order, and if you get rid of that apex, and I don't mean that blooming tube, blooming John, whatever his face is, saying if you kill the king, that's treason or the rest. I'm not about killing Andy. I'm talking about removing them from being our monarch in Scotland. Simple as that.
Just doing away with the monarchy altogether in Scotland. But as I say, this is a time for us Republicans to speak up.
Yeah.
And to put our head above the parapet and say, no in our name. No in our name.
Yeah.
And people can either like it or lump it.
Yeah.
You know. But as I say, I take pelters last night, show some respect. Some respect for what? I've met a wee woman. She seemed nice enough. You know, just another wee old woman. And as Kevin Bridges put it last night, it's going to be helpful. A wee old woman die this winter. And guess whose heiress is at the pinnacle of that? Whoever the monarch is, because it's their sovereignty in Westminster.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're the ones that are sitting watching the serfs in England suffer when they're your supreme leader, and they should be doing something about it.
Yeah, it's not called Her Majesty's government for no reason. The sovereignty of the king, as it is now, is handed to the Parliament in London. That's basically how it is. And you've got to look at everything that's been happening. All of the Boris Johnson blooming story, all the way through. There were several times where the Queen could have actually said, right, you're out. I'll ask the Tories to elect another Prime Minister and all the rest of it, right? And she didn't. She opted for a quiet life. Now, as far as that's concerned, at the age she was, really, I'm angry at a wee old woman for wanting a quiet life. No, really. But at the same time, she could have done it. She had the power to do it, and she decided not to wield that power.
Apparently Davies said he's just blocked Tony. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he managed to do that. I don't even know how to block a bugger. This is my dream. But the whole thing is it's an enabler of corruption.
I think Dave Milligan has been drinking. I'll tell you what, seriously. See, if I meet you, Tony, I'll have a good fucking drink first, and then we'll have a quiet time down a bank close somewhere. How's with that?
Okay, David, stop that. And never mind, obviously Tony's a monarchist. He's entitled to his point of view. I take this same rule.
No, I'm a Republican. Nice, no.
But I was going to bring me back to something about republicanism, David, right? Now, here in Scotland, of course, and in the UK, they try to paint nationalism and republicanism as a bad thing. And they tend to, and the people on these islands tend to equate it with a Catholic movement in Ireland. So they do. So, David, you're a Republican. Why don't you tell them what religion you are, dear boy?
I'm Protestant.
Of course we are.
In fact, it's like, when I was a kid, I was dragged into the worst side of Protestantism, right? And I even met what was Pastor Jack Glass was my vicar, and I met what was the buffoon in Northern Ireland? What did they call him again? Ian Paisley. I actually met him in person on the Mount in Edinburgh, right? And that was the day that an archbishop came to speak at the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, and they were protesting against it, right? And I was dragged into all that. It took me till I was 13 before I rebelled, and I did rebel big style because I could see it for what it was. It was just pure and simple hatred for the Catholics, out and out, which is ridiculous. These are people. These are people in our country. And, you know, looking at the two bloody football teams that we've got in Glasgow, Celtic, they blooming run around with the Irish tricolour, and the Rangers running about with the blooming Union Jack. What the fuck are they? Are they Scottish? No, they're not Scottish.
I really want to get into the football thing and be it, David, but I just wanted to point out that the dirty language that's used about republicanism or nationalism in Scotland is incorrect. The connotations it has with Northern Ireland is absolutely bugger out of Davies, Scotland. My own republicanism comes out of the fact that I don't believe that any man is born above me.
Correct.
Well, we're all born equal. Everyone is born equal, no matter what colour, creed, nationality, the lot. And as we say in Scotland here, we're all Jock Tamson's bairns. And that would include Charlie. He's just not a step above us all. And that's why his constitutional position, the way it was with Elizabeth anyway, was different to the constitutional position he has in England, where he's the supreme ruler, and the people there are serfs and no citizens.
Yeah, and you have to understand, he is just a human being. He's nothing special, right? What keeps him in place is sycophants that gather around about him and say, he's special. No, he isn't special. He's just a human being. And as far as I'm concerned, no me whatsoever, right?
I don't think he's even that well educated, is he? He's an art history, his degrees in art history or something like that. They tell me he's quite a good artist, straight enough.
I'm not interested. I'm just not interested in the least. Yeah, so.
We're interested in seeing that abolished, David. You know,
yeah, that's right.
As I say, I don't mind people who are monarchists having a pop at me. Don't care. I really don't. Like I said in my show this morning, I couldn't give a damn. The institution of monarchy needs to be abolished. It hoards up the English class system, for Christ's sake. Keeps people suppressed. You know. It really does. I mean, you can't have a class system without it. I mean, the monarchy is the English class system personified.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. And my republicanism is born out of the fact that I believe that all men are born equal, including Charles. Simple as that. So the institution of monarchy is obscene to me. Obscene. But to put Stephen's comment up, you and I took this line in the last referendum, and that is the monarchy is cheaper than a president.
But the cost is about 11 million.
Aye.
And I mind speaking about it during the run up to 2014, and one of the SNP politicians says, we're going to try and get England to pay for it.
This is Tony's problem. He has no confidence in himself. According to Tony, not all men are born equal. I will. I will.
You come into the world just the same as I do, Tony. We are born equal. And it's like the only thing. That's right. The only thing that denotes what your life's going to be is the money that surrounds you. If you've got money round about you, you're taken to be special. No, you aren't special.
That's the difference between the Scots and the English. You get above your boots up, you get above your station up here, and we'll take the legs out for your undergate. I can sit in a bar with a multi-millionaire, and the minute he tries to talk about his Ferrari and his big house, you know that he's going to be standing at the bar by himself because none of us are impressed with that fish.
Correct.
You know. So, as I say, my objection to the monarchy is that all men are born equal.
Yeah.
Well, I just surprised you. I sprung this one on you, David, and it's been a good one to bounce about because now people know that you and I are Republicans.
Yeah. Okay. Wee question for you.
Aye.
You were in the army. I wasn't, right?
Right.
And you had to. Did you say an oath of allegiance to the Queen, or did you sign something, or what did you do?
Signed it, yes.
You signed it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. It's the Institute of the Monarchy that you're obviously signing up for, yeah? So, in other words, when Charles becomes king, automatically your allegiance, if you're in the army, is to the king then, yes?
I would imagine they're not going to make him swear a new oath. Why?
Yeah, right.
But the minute you leave the profession, then your oath means nothing anymore. You're no longer in that profession.
I say that, but I'm saying when you're in, you know, and don't forget, I've got a son that's in, you know, so I've got a son that's a Royal Engineer, and he's in. So therefore, you know, he has signed an allegiance to the Queen, and I take it that automatically transfers, or will he be, just out of sheer bloody nosiness and interest, will he be required to sign another allegiance to King Charles?
I really don't know, David, but even if my allegiance was, even after I come out, if my allegiance was still to the end, it would have been to Elizabeth at the time, that's who I swore to. She did now, so I'm released to that oath, and I won't be signing any oath. But as I say, when I left the profession, the oath meant nothing to me anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
Just an interesting idea.
Kevin Riley's put up, could we have a referendum on a republic? Ref one.
Why not? Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, my goodness, they're debating euthanasia, right? Put it to a bloody referendum. Let the people decide whether you want this. There could be referendums on bloody everything, you know. And at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, a referendum, so long as it's not footered about with, is a fair way of gauging what people want. And the Swiss have a referendum, something like once a month, where they vote on issues of the day. And in order to raise an issue, I think it's 50,000 signatures that you require. Once you get 50,000 signatures, it automatically goes out to the Swiss Parliament, and they run it as a referendum.
Aye.
So I like the idea where the people that hold the power, which are the people like you and me, have the choice.
Yes. As I say, I'm all for a referendum on whether Charles should be allowed to take the crown in Scotland. I'm all for a referendum on monarchy or on abolishing the monarchy altogether. And I don't see why we can't do it within the UK, even though our politicians swear allegiance to the crown.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't have a debate on abolishing the crown.
Now, a good question arises. Let's just throw it out there. Let's say that the monarchy was abolished in Scotland, right? But then you had a King Charles that was pushing his will onto the Parliament in England. England, therefore, still has say over Scotland. Therefore, would he be able to rule Scotland by association?
I just think Tony that time out there is becoming disruptive. But of course, as far as I'm concerned, the people of Scotland are sovereign. They can do what the bloody well like. It's getting the politicians to actually brass it up.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting the politicians to stand up and say, well, this is the will of the people, or we're going to ask the people.
Yeah.
And we don't give a shite what you say down that road about it.
Same.
You know? But anyway, David, I sprung this live on you. Just one of these things I do. I'm naughty like that. But I've got work to go to.
You did it to me again. You made me look the other direction whilst you blooming clicked the button, and I didn't see the 3, 2, 1, you're live.
So Tony, your block will be lifted in 5 minutes, and you're welcome to come back to any of our other shows. Today's just a wee quickie because David and I were having a chat about the fact that we're both Republicans, and I went to sneaky live.
Yeah.
And Fubar, you're right. Our political classes need to grow up there. You're right. They need to stop playing by Westminster's rules and all, but they will.
Right, guys. Anyway, I've still got a sick daughter. She's not as bad today. She's on a new set of antibiotics and all the rest of it, right? But the wee soul isn't feeling well, so I'm going to get back and check her out, make sure she's okay. Because at the moment her mother's out working, so it's just me looking after her. All right, okay, guys. Have a good day, and don't forget to keep subscribing if you haven't subscribed before, because our new target is 2,000 subscribers. It was 1,000.
Whoa, what's this target stuff?
Right.
What's this? Somebody going to tell you about target stuff? I know I didn't tell you we were going live, but that's beside the point. I was like, advance noticing this stuff.
You left all this shit to me, so therefore I put up another target. All right.
Anyway, before we go, David's already covered the subscribe. If you like what we do, share it, folks. They say I put my head above a parapet in this one. People are shooting at me. But hey, that's what happens when you put your head above a parapet. So, what do you call it? I've just got one thing left to say before this programme comes to an end, and I hit the shut button. Say goodbye, David.
Goodbye, David.
Up for a public. Bye, David.